Hello and welcome back to Asia Now. My name is Alex, and in this special video, I'm going to tell you what are POGOs and how do they actually operate and what effects do they have on a country such as the Philippines. The following is a brief breakdown of POGOs. The Philippines offshore gaming operators, commonly known as POGOs, offer online gaming services such as electronic casino and sports betting, among others, only to customers outside the country. Most of its clients were Chinese, since gambling is generally illegal in China except for state-run lotteries. Players make bets and receive payouts through various online financial platforms. While POGOs began their operation in the Philippines in 2003, that's over 20 years ago, they went vigorous starting in 2016 when the administration of then President Rodrigo Duterte relaxed the country's internet gambling policies with consideration of revenue and creation of more jobs for Filipinos. Before they could operate, POGOs are required to obtain a license to operate from the Philippines Amusement and Gaming Corporation, also known as PAGCOR. There are three categories. First is where dealers do online games through live streaming, while the second and third are subsectors of business processing outsourcing BPO that focus on back office services through an actual office or space. So PAGCOR said the number of licensed POGOs in the country peaked at more than 300 in 2019, generating more than 7 billion pesos in licensing fees alone. This has also resulted in massive arrival of Chinese nationals in the country to work in POGOs. A significant number was undocumented. The Department of Labor and Employment, DOLE, said in 2019 of the 118,000 workers of POGO, only about 21,000 were actual Filipinos. The POGO industry in the country, however, experienced a setback due to the coronavirus disease pandemic, which forced several firms to cease operations. The number of Filipino working in POGOs went down between 14,000 and 16,000 in 2020 and in 2022, while it bounced back around 25,000 out of the total 66,000 employees in 2023. So the economic impact, what does that mean for the Philippines? In a statement on Tuesday, July 23rd, the Department of Finance Secretary Ralph Secto said the POGO's estimated total economic benefits only amounting to 166 billion per year. Only, significantly lower than the estimated total economic cost of 265 billion annually. This means around 99 billion net cost for the country each year. The economic benefits took into account government revenues such as tax revenues from the Bureau of Revenue, as well as gross gaming revenues from PAGCOR, estimated income from office residential space rentals, transportation, and additional demands from the private consumption of employees and entities. A little bit on the dark side of POGOs. So Marcos took note on the illicit activities of POGOs, disguising as legitimate entities such as financial scamming, money laundering, prostitution, and so on. Over the past year, the Philippine National Police, PNP, has recorded dozens of crimes, Chinese nationals, particularly POGO workers, by their fellow citizens. While police would exhaust their resources and efforts to resolve cases, particularly to rescue the victims, it usually does not prosper, as the victims, who most of them will refuse to pursue charges against their violators. And now let's get into the crackdown a little bit. Over the past year, authorities have been conducting various raids on POGO firms. Some of them have luxurious facilities such as their own KTV bars and even unlicensed medical clinics. In March, the Criminal Investigation Detection Group, together with the Presidential Anti-Organization Crime in Bamban Tarlac, following disturbing reports of an abused foreign national worker who was able to escape 7.9 hectare property where the lady identified illegal POGO was operating. The operation resulted in the rescue of 800 employees, including around 500 foreigners, of which 427 were Chinese nationals, and the discovery of gleaming villas within the compound valued for over 40 million each, a wine cellar, state-of-art kitchen, so luxury stuff basically. The firm, which was allegedly involved in surveillance activities and hacking of government websites, had become a subject of Senate probe, which later centered around suspended Bamban Mayor Alice Guo, who allegedly letting the firm continue to operate despite lacking authority. The firm sits on a 10-hectare property consisting of 46 buildings and other facilities, including a golf course. At least 186 foreign and Filipino workers were apprehended from the POGO complex, including at least 4 individuals who were identified as victims. 2 of them were still handcuffed and full of bruises. POGO operations are expected to cease completely in the country by December 2024. Now that's where a little bit of brief history of POGO and what's going on and the impact they have economically, socially, for investments, reputation to the public of the Philippines, and of course trust from the public and authorities. There's a lot to break down here, and I'm not really one here to tell people how to feel about these things, but I actually used to manage a casino in Canada myself. Although it was run by the government, there's really strict rules to it. good, but there's still like an ethical side to it as well. So when you provide these kind of places for people to go and spend money, any place where there's a large transaction when it comes to money, there's always possibility for crime, right? So if you want to get into the ethical side of things, but sticking to just what the basics are, these things have to be definitely regulated. And one thing that kind of would be annoying for the Filipino people is like foreign investor coming taking advantage of the country and its population and its like rules and regulations to make money from companies and clients abroad, but only employing about 21,000 out of the 118,000 employees to be Filipinos. So that's the other thing, which of course then you have tourists coming in to the country, but yet working illegally. Once again, not very fair. Like look at the number of OFWs. I know Filipinos go through a whole lot of process, procedure, payments, and agencies just to go abroad and work legally, right? So it's kind of like the contrast or the opposite when you have somebody coming into your own country and working under the table, essentially. One other thing I want to say is like, stuff like this takes a long time to actually put into place and for it to actually go down and happen the way they're saying. Now, personally, I am a little skeptical, not with just Marcos himself, what he says, but any government that wants to shut down such a big revenue streaming kind of operation, right? I think it's going to be a little bit longer or different than just, shut it all down. Although recently they said in 2 months they want all the employees working for these people that are foreigners to leave the country as well. So I don't know, it might happen, it may not happen. I could see it going either way, to be honest. I know there's a lot of talk about them basically simply rebranding it and calling it internet gaming licenses, or they might be really strict with it, right? So I mean, there is like a proper way of doing these things to make sure every single one of these POGOs are registered, that they're paying taxes, that they're employing a certain number of Filipinos, if not all Filipinos. Of course, you have the language stuff, but I know a lot of Filipinos take Mandarin and Cantonese and can speak Chinese as well. So I mean, you can still hire those people instead of bringing your own crew from China. Anyways, I hope that video helped you guys a little bit. So leave your thoughts down below. What do you think? If you're new to the channel, take a quick second, subscribe, hit that thumbs up so more people can understand what are POGOs. And I'd love to know your thoughts about this whole thing because it is a hot topic. It's going to be in the news for the next little while as well. It has been recently because of Mayor Alice Guo, or former Mayor Alice Guo, and she's kind of been missing lately as well. There's a whole intertwined series of topics in here, and that was just my little reading. Also, that little breakdown was from the Sunstar magazine from Anne Peralta Malonzo III. She did a great job, I think, explaining everything. So hopefully you guys don't have to read it. And I went and made this video for you. So that's it. I'll see you guys in our regular scheduled daily news about the Philippines and other countries in Asia. See you guys next time. Bye.